you are now about to be initiated into this within this tent. So, before we begin, I'm going to be examining your face, examining your skull, examining the dimensions of your head to make sure that you qualify as a candidate, as a member of this organization. What is this organization? It is the organization of the Tent Club. We're very obsessed with tents and blanket forts and anything that has to do with small constructions of very cute and cozy things. Do you ever feel safer in a small space that's just very nice and cozy? No? Just me? I'll pretend like you didn't say that. So I'm going to be just examining the different lengths and the different sizes of your head and making sure that it is all nice and proportional. So that way we can make sure that it is nice and done. Now, before we continue, do you notice that I look like It when that does that? That one scene from It, when it moves like that, and then it appears like this. I look like that. So I'm going to be examining your head really quickly. You can just keep still. Just keep still for me. Okay, keep very still for me. I'm just going to be examining your head very quickly. Okay, I'm just going to be examining your head really quickly, making sure that all of the dimensions are nice and symmetrical, that all of the dimensions are nice and proportional. Okay, just look at my finger right here. I'm going to be dividing your face down the middle. Now look at my finger like this. I'm going to be dividing your face down the middle as well. Down the middle horizontally, down the middle, or rather vertically, down the middle horizontally. Now, remove yourself from my presence. So, I'm going to be now just examining the dimensions, okay, from across. Okay, I'm going to be, look at my finger, and I'm going to be examining it from across. Look at my finger. I'm going to be examining it from across. Okay, perfect, okay. Are you still with me? Are you still looking at me? Keep looking right into my eyes, right here, right into my eyes, okay. And keep focusing right there. Perfect, perfect. I'm going to be simply measuring out your eyebrows. Now making sure that your eyebrows are nice and proportional, symmetric, that they are twins and not sisters. So, let's begin. I'm just going to be measuring out your eyebrows right here. Measuring out your eyebrows right here. Measuring out your eyebrows and making sure that the next one is nice and symmetrical. Making sure that my fingers... What I'm basically going to be doing is taking my fingers like this and then going down them. So that way, as they go down, once one stops, the other one should be stopping at the exact same time. And not only that, but the consistency between the two eyebrows should be the same among each fingertip right here. Each fingertip right here. So for example, like the thickness of it should be equally proportionate to the fingertip right here and equally proportionate to the fingertip right here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Perfect. So I'm going to be measuring it out much like this, making sure that the entire experience is nice and symmetrical, just to make sure that your eyebrows are perfectly symmetrical, perfectly mirrored, much like twins. So I'm just going to be starting now, just making sure that the entire experience is nice and symmetrical, making sure that the entire thing is just exactly the same on both sides, and that it ends when it ends, and that it's ending at the same time. Okay, perfect. Your eyebrows are nice and symmetrical. Now I'm going to be measuring your nostrils for the same purposes. Okay, I'm going to be plugging these pinkies into your nostrils, digging it up right in there, making sure that the pinkies are swallowed in at exactly and with exactly the same perimeter of your nostrils. So, for example, if I sneak in one pinky and it's nice and snug and the other pinky has some looseness around it, it is not perfectly symmetrical. So I'm going to be making sure that both are either really snug or both have a lot of, or equidistant or equal amount of space that I can easily just swirl my fingers in. Okay. So just keep your nostrils nice and open for me. Nice and open for me. Don't try to scrunch up your nostrils. Don't try to scrunch up your nostrils. Try to keep it very nice and open for me. Perfect. So I'm just going to be putting up or snuggling up. Remove yourself from my presence. I'm being attacked. I'm being under attack. Okay, so I'm just going to be putting up my nostrils, or my pinkies up in your nostrils. Okay, I'm just going to be swirling them around, making sure that they're nice and the same distance. Okay. Perfect. Okay, your nostrils are nice and symmetrical. Your eyebrows are nice and symmetrical. Now for your eyes. Okay, I'm just going to be kind of putting these, this ring finger right here, the ring finger right here, and making sure that the eye is perfectly symmetrical with the same process that we used for the pinky on the nose and then the finger on the eyebrow. So I'm just going to be doing that for your eyes to make sure that they're nice and symmetrical. Okay, so I'm just going to be doing it like this. Okay, I'm just going to be moving my finger around, making sure to take my time, making sure that each shape is being followed accordingly. I'm going to put these peaches in your peaches. There we go. Now I'm just going to be putting it around. Okay, putting it around, putting it around, putting it around, putting it around, putting it around. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. And I'm just going to be making sure once again that it's nice and symmetrical, that it's nice and mirrored, that there's exactly the same amount of space as needed. Okay, now that we have all of that, would you mind, just some cooperation would be lovely. Okay, would you mind, stay still please, your balance seems to be off. Now, I am an angel, hence the whiteness around me. I am a celestial body. You are currently in heaven. You have passed away. This was all just a fabrication. There is no tent organization. All of these measurements are just to make sure that you can make it to heaven. If I were to find a flaw, you'd be condemned to the fiery pits and bowels of hell for eternal torments forever and on. Okay? Okay. So I'm just going to be analyzing your face to make sure that you can make it into the kingdom of heaven. So I'm just going to be measuring your skull now. I'm just going to be measuring your skull, making sure. Would you mind? Don't you dare hit me. That was an assault. That was assault. That was assault. Okay, so I'm just going to be measuring out your skull. The skull shape that we're looking for is the one with like the pointy part at the top. Like no nice spherical skulls. We want a pointy one. We want a skull where it literally goes like this. Why? Because when you go up into heaven, your skull needs to be pointed up like this, so that way it can pierce through all the nonsense of heaven. So I'm just going to be I'm just going to be measuring out your skull, making sure that your skull is nice and examined, 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 nice. Okay. Now, would you mind turning around for me? Yes, just do a quick turn around. Just a quick turn around. Yes, yes. I'm just gonna be feeling the back of your skull really quickly. Back of your skull, back of your skull really quickly. Back of your skull really quickly. Back of your skull, back of your skull. Okay. Okay. Now turn back around for me. Hi. How are you? There we go. Now I'm going to be asking you a quick series of questions. Number 1, what color is this? Number 2, what color is this? Number 3, what color is this? Correct. They were all pink. Now, I'm going to be asking you really quickly, what is your favorite color? Purple, blue, green, orange. Sorry, the only right answer is God. Your favorite color should be God. What is your favorite movie? Legally Blonde? No. Your favorite movie should be God. Tell me, what is your favorite band? God? No. It should be Tool. Have you ever listened to Tool? It's really good. So, look me in the eyes again. I'm going to be simply studying your soul. The eyes are the window to the soul, so I'm just going to be examining them very quickly, inserting myself into your soul, making sure that I can walk around it like a being, another separate being, another conscious being inside of your eyes, making sure that I can really examine the pupils, the worlds within your eyes, and making sure that I can just insert myself within the presence of such magnanimous, or rather, such a complicated mind. Well, now that I'm done with that nonsense, I'm going to be merely checking your pulse just to make sure that you're dead. You know, we don't really want to admit a living person once again. We've done that once before, and it was a little bit complicated and a little bit jarring. We had to ultimately kill the person and send them to the bowels of hell because they knew too much. Once you know the existence of heaven, although you might be alive, you must be put to death. That's just God's rules. Them's the rules. So I'm just going to be checking your pulse, making sure that you're dead. And if you're not, then that will be awkward. So give me one moment. I'm just going to be checking the pulse on your neck really quickly. Just checking the pulse on your neck, okay? I'm just going to be checking the pulse really quickly on your neck. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything beating here. It seems to be quiet and silent. It doesn't seem to be alive. Here, give me the pulse of your wrist now. I'm just going to be checking the pulse on your wrist now. Just hand over the wrist. Okay, perfect. I'm going to be checking the pulse on your wrist now. Yes, that seems to be a deceased person's wrist. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Now, I'm going to be asking you to follow these fingers. Okay? Just follow the tips of the fingers. Follow the tips of the fingers right here. Follow the tips of the fingers right there. Yep. Just follow the tips of these fingers. Follow the tips of these fingers. Follow the tips of these fingers. Perfect. 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 You're doing so good. You're doing so good. You're doing excellent. 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 What was the purpose for that? Why does it have to be a purpose behind everything? Why can't I just do something for the fun of it? Now, after all of these examinations and cross-examinations and after all of these tests and processes, I have now determined that you are eligible to make it to heaven. Now, it is up to you to decide. Do you want to go to heaven or do you want to be condemned to the fiery pits of bowels of hell? Condemned to the fiery pits and bowels of hell? Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot of people want to go to heaven anymore.